Third reading calendar number 2. Clerk will now read. The clerk is not.
This act shall take effect January 20th, 2011. Oh. Oh, okay. A.2221, an act sponsored by Assemblywoman Peoples-Stokes. An act to amend the education law in relation to establishing an accelerated high school graduation program.
Mr. Peoples-Stokes, an explanation is requested.
This bill establishes the New York Accelerated Graduation Option Act to high school students with the restrictions of a 3.0 GPA and a passing score on all Regents exams, with 2 free years of a New York State community college.
Will the sponsor of the bill yield to questions?
Yes.
If you have a question, please stand. Assembly member in the far left. Assembly member Aubrey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jack de los Santos for the New York City delegation, representing Assembly Member Jerry Aubrey. I was wondering, why are the participants of the bill, limited to go to a 2-year community college instead of the 4 years?
According to the bill and the summary, the specifications are 2 years.
Thank you. Any more questions? Mr. Kolb?
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Judith Quintanilla, and I'm representing Assemblyman Brian Cole.
Could you please speak louder?
My name is Judith Quintanilla, and I am representing Brian Cole, Assemblyman Brian Cole. My question today is, where are we getting all the money to provide these services? Where is the money for this, for all of this? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
This program will be put into place next year, allowing for the funds to be subject to appropriation, which means they will be worked into the 2012 budget.
Thank you. Any more questions? Assemblymember Yaffe?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Esmeralda Polanco, and I represent Assemblywoman Ellen Jaffe from the Lower Hudson Valley of New York. And the bill, it says, in the bill, lines 28 and 29 in part 2, it says the students can become eligible to receive a scholarship to cover the full cost of tuition at the New York Community College. The eligibility will be covering everybody that's eligible, or would they choose specific candidates or people to give the scholarship to? Thank you.
Thank you.
To be eligible for these scholarships, the student will apply for the Accelerated Graduation Option Act, and as I said, they would have to have a 3.0 to a 4.0 grade point average, and they would have to have a passing score on all of their normally required Regents exams.
Thank you. Assemblymember Bonte?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was wondering what the estimated cost of the program would be for, let's say, Yonkers Public School, which is only being funded $2 million this for next year.
Thank you.
Well, I don't have the details for that answer right now because it hasn't been worked into the budget. So.
Thank you. We will now proceed to debating the bill. All those. And next one. Will Assembly Member Inez Barron please raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jocelyn Delgado. I represent Assemblywoman Inez Barron from the Lower Hudson delegation.
Can you speak louder, please?
I rise in complete favor of this bill because not many families are financially stable to send their children to college, and not many children are eligible for financial aid. And this is a really great opportunity for them. And it is optional, so it's not like anybody's being forced into this. And possibly this could even increase the graduation rate in New York. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly Member Saladino, please raise your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Luana Ramos. I represent NASA delegation, and I'm representing Assemblyman Joseph Saladino. I wish to speak in favor of the motion because if the students from high school are engaged to graduate in 3 years, I think there will be more chances. That way they can get jobs early and can help pay taxes and help the families. And that way they can support the families. And they will engage students from high school to do better in school. I therefore urge the members to vote in favor of the motion. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Assembly Member Glick, please raise your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Yaskira Mota from the New York delegation, representing the Assembly Member Deborah Glick. I stand in favor of this bill because it provides the help. It provides the help that many other citizens need in order to get a higher education. According to the bank rate research, only 25% of families with low income are able to pay college for their kids. This program helps them get this college for free for 2 years, giving them an associate's degree. According to an article by Olivia Grosby, with an associate's degree, you will be able to get a career in technology, healthcare, and liberal arts. This can also be the head start for a bachelor's degree. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Assembly Member Costello please raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Carlos Rodriguez, and I represent Assemblyman Robert J. Castillo from the Lower Hudson Valley of this Empire State of New York. I rise in opposition of this bill. I see this bill as a cop-out for the students who actually have potential in them. How many of us as freshmen knew about scholarships, about federal financial aid, about all that? If you take an uninformed freshman who is poor, and he knows it, but has the grades to succeed, he sees this full tuition to a community college as a godsend. But why settle at a community college when you could have been number one or at the top of your class at a more prestigious 4-year college? Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly Member Hoyt at the majority desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Analicia Ramos from the Monroe delegation, and I represent Assembly Member Sam Hoyt. I am in favor of the motion for the following reasons. 1. Free community college for 2 years will increase enrollment and quality of college life. 2. An increase in the workforce there will be an increase in the workforce with post-secondary education. 3. Diversity increases, which in turn will provide more opportunities for students that normally would not have that chance. I therefore urge the members to vote in favor of the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Will Assembly Member Smarts please raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Lisa Bonilla, and I represent the Western New York delegation, and I represent Assemblyperson Kevin Smarts. I wish to speak against this bill because it's requiring our freshmen to do the minimal effort. You have to maintain a 3.0. That is like a 75 in any school. At that age, a freshman doesn't know what they want to do yet. You usually don't figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life until you're a junior or a senior. And I think that this bill is condoning minimal effort from students who are able to work to full potential, and that's just not fair. So I highly recommend my following colleagues to vote against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Assembly Member McEnany raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Alex Garcia. I'm from the Capital District delegation, and I represent Assembly Member John McEnany. And I strongly support this bill.
Will you please speak louder and
All right.
clearer?
I strongly support this bill, not just because it helps our students to get a better education. It will also save New York State taxpayers money because, according to the U.S. Today article dated June 28, 2010, New York Public schools are first in the nation for student spending. We spent $17,173 per student for every public education in the years 2007 to 2008. According to the same article, this is more than any other state in the nation, 67% more than the United States average. When in Hudson Valley Community College, it only costs $1,700 for tuition, in state tuition. Now let's make the math: 17,000 against 1,700. You decide. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Will Assembly Member Raw please raise your hand? Raw. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Francis Peralta, and I'm representing Assemblyman Ed Rack from the Nassau.
Excuse me, could you please speak louder and clearer?
I'm Francis Peralta, and I'm representing Ed Rack, Assemblyman Ed Rack. I raised to speak against this motion debido a que para poder ejercer esta ley nos veríamos obligados a abrir más programas educativos. Por ejemplo, clases después de escuelas. Por la misma razón, nos veríamos a utilizar los profesores por más tiempo, lo que constituiría más dinero gastado. Que desafortunadamente en este momento el país no podemos gastar más dinero. Por esta razón, le pido a todos que voten en contra de esta ley. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Will Assembly Member Simberwitz please raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Cecilia Reyes, New York City delegation, representing Assembly Member Stevenson Browick. I am in favor of this bill because according to U.S. Today News, the U.S. Census Bureau, New York City, spent $17,173 per student of public education in 2007 to 2008. A year at a community college is $2,414, while the cost for a student at a high school year is $17,173. This will save both the government a lot of money as well as help the families who need the money for college.
a year at a a year at a community college is cheaper than 1 year at a high school. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Will Assembly Member Barclay raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Sofia Escobedo Tejada. I am from the Syracuse delegation, and I represent Assemblyman William Barclay. I wish to speak in favor of the early graduation bill. I feel that granting free tuition to a community college for a student who graduates early is an excellent way to improve our workforce.
Can you speak louder and clearer, please?
In this day and age, completing secondary school no longer ensures success in future careers. Especially now in this economic crisis, a college education is much more valuable as it helps qualify a student in different fields of work. Many of us see our family members being laid off, and many of them are even professionals. What hope does a student who only graduated from high school have in getting any career? Also, this bill would help give options and opportunities to students, specifically low-income students, and would enable them to have more expertise in their jobs. I therefore urge my esteemed colleagues to vote in favor of the early graduation bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Assembly members please speak louder and clearer? And side chatter needs to stop. Will Assembly Member Tedisco please raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Edwin Reyes, and I am from the Capital District Delegation, and I represent Assemblymember James Tedisco. I am strongly opposing this bill due to the fact that I feel it's saving money instead of saving the importance of our youth's education. In order to prepare a student for college, you must first make sure that he is doing well in middle school. According to my New York State Department website, only 53% of 8th grade students are meeting the requirements in math, English, and language arts. I also feel that this is encouraging students to enter this program only just to get out of high school faster with decent grades. As said, 3.0 average, 75. This bill also does not allow equal privilege to private school students. So this is only helping out public school students. Thank you for your time, Mr. Speaker.
You're welcome. Due to time constraints, we will only be taking 2 more speakers on this bill. Will Assembly Member Schroeder raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is my name is Alex Gonzalez, and I'm a delegate of the Western New York.
Could you please speak louder and clearer?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, didn't realize. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Alex Gonzalez, and I'm a delegate of Western New York, and I represent Assemblyman Mark Schroeder. I would like to condone this bill as it promotes static schooling among students of New York State. The bill encourages students who decide to become integrated into the New York Accelerated High School Graduation Action Act within the schools they have enrolled. Scholars will undoubtedly remain within New York State borders as graduation standards vary throughout the state and nation. It is my belief that if this opportunity were passed, the students whom which the privilege was given will remain within New York State, improving our state economically and display our state as a model to this nation and as a standard for equal opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're welcome. Will Assembly Member Goodell please raise your hand? He will be the last speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jumar Gomez. I represent the Western New York delegation, and I represent Assemblyman Andy Goodell. I wish to speak against this motion because right now there are students that really work hard for their schools, to get into college. I believe it is not fair for these students to work really hard for their schools and to get into college, and that these students, for just keeping a GPA of 3, as my esteemed colleague has said, which is 75% as average grade, they get it for free. These students now are going to settle for less. So it means that not many are going to take advantage of this program. For the same reason, the population of this country is going to increase. As the population increases, how are we going to pay for so many people that are not even working hard for what they want? Given these facts, I believe a negative vote is the only plausible way to vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
Clerk will record the vote now. All those in favor say aye and stand. You may sit down now. All those opposed, please stand.
Oh, shit.
91 against, 59 for.
The bill is defeated.